do the sex.
Today's topic is your guide to the spit kink. I am breaking down the spit kink into a bunch of hard rules and then 3 main laws or guidelines, if you will, if you want to either dive into giving it a try for the first time, or you have a new partner that you want to introduce to this activity. Now, if you've listened to my podcast for any time at all, you know how I feel about spit during intimacy, but I don't want to yuck anyone else's yum. So I have done my homework. I've not only, played around with it myself in my own personal life, but I've done the research and I've dug into a lot of information out there to bring you some guidelines, some rules, so that if it is your thing and you are engaging with someone new in intimacy, you can introduce it to them correctly and have success in this activity, which really has gone mainstream over the last couple of years. But before I dive in to everything you need to know about the spit kink and spitting during intimacy, I want to remind you that you can find me on OF, where I am sharing guided how-tos and some intimacy meditations for all of my subscribers. Also, you can find me over on Substack, where I am writing some really helpful articles and sharing my own stories. So join me on those platforms. You can find me on both of them at the same handle, which is at Talk Sex with Annette. And I provide all the links you need in the description of this podcast episode to find me wherever you go. All right, let's talk about something messy, filthy, and wildly misunderstood: the spit kink. Some men like it because it feels dominant, dirty, and a little bit primal. It's kind of like marking territory, taking control, or just making things a little bit wetter. And some women love it for the same reasons: a little bit of filth, a little bit of power play, and a whole lot of surrender. But let's get real, not everybody has a spit kink. And for a lot of women, when a man spits the wrong way, at the wrong time, and without permission, it's an immediate mood killer. Spitting isn't some random act you throw in. It is a kink, a deliberate act of dominance and submission and filth. And it needs to be done the right way in order for it to be sexy. So if you're going to do it, let's make sure you're doing it right. I'm talking when, where, and how, so it turns her on instead of drying her up so that she walks away. Let's dive in to spitting during intimacy. Cheers. So I'm going to start with the hard rules. These are rules that may not be broken. And then I will dive into my 3 laws, if you will, guidelines for a successful experience for both you and your partner when it comes to the spit kink. Rule number 1, full explicit consent every time. Every time. She needs to know how you want to do it, when you want to do it, and where you want to do it. And if she doesn't have a spit kink, it doesn't happen. Rule number 2, fresh breath, clean mouth. Bad breath, sticky spit, turn off. Disgusting. Make sure you've brushed your teeth, you've flossed, and that you're drinking water. Stay hydrated, my friends. Rule number 3, no phlegm ever. This is intimacy, not a sick day. This should be hot, not disgusting. Rule number 4, know your aim. Make sure she knows it too. Face, body, vulva, each has its own approach. Don't just go guessing. Rule number 5, read the room. Just because she liked it once doesn't mean it's a go every time. This brings us back to rule number 1, explicit consent every time. And the 5th final hard rule is spit is not a substitute for lube. It dries up, it gets sticky, it will not keep her wet the way she needs to be or the way lube can. So remember, this is not a substitute for lube. Have lube on hand. All right, now that you've got the basics down, let's get into how to actually do it right. Number 1, getting to engage in the spit kink with a partner is a privilege and not a right. Let me be crystal clear. The spit kink is not something you assume. It is something you earn. Every woman is different. Not every woman is into it. And if you spit on the wrong woman at the wrong time, you might just end up with a slap in the face instead of a moan. So before you let that saliva drip, Read the room. Better yet, ask and ask again. A simple, do you like it dirty, baby? Can I spit on you? Do you want me to spit on you? Goes a long way. And if she doesn't, she'll let you know. And you will save yourself the horror of being humiliated by a woman who didn't want your saliva on her body in the first place. And this especially goes to individuals who think, I don't have a spit kink, but they will suddenly spit on their hands, their fingers, or on a vulva in order to help with lubrication. You need to ask before you do that. Make sure she is okay with that. It's not something you just do. It can really, really gross the girl out. Number 2, aim matters and so does execution. If she's into it, great, but don't be sloppy. The spit kink can be sexy as fuck, or it can be really disgusting. No woman wants to feel like she's just been sneezed on. Here's how you do it right. Number 1, spitting on her mouth. Make it slow and controlled. Let her see the string of saliva. Sorry, this is hard for me. Let her see the string of saliva. Make it an invitation, not an ambush. Spitting on her vulva. Do it like you mean it. Make it part of the moment. Hold her eye contact. Let her feel the heat of your breath before you do it. Anything else feels lazy, feels careless, feels gross. Spitting anywhere else. Make sure it fits the moment. Don't just hit her out of the blue. And for fuck's sake, don't hawk flim. This isn't a street corner. Keep it clean, keep it sexy, keep it erotic. Okay, the third law, guideline if you will. The spit kink is about power, so wield it wisely. The real secret here is that the spit kink is about power. We're talking dominance, submission, filth, control, and when it's done right, it can throw a woman into overdrive. But the second it feels forced, rushed, or careless, it's over. There's a difference between a woman arching her back and asking for more, and one rolling her eyes, getting up, and never calling you again. So if you want to spit, make it intentional. Make it part of the moment. Let it feel earned, not like some random trick you learned from porn, because when done right, spitting isn't just dirty. It can be devastatingly sexy. So there you have it. Lots of hot tips and my 3 big rules, guidelines, laws, if you will, to doing the spit kink right. If you're into it, own it. Do it well. Do it in a way that turns us on and not off. And if you haven't done it before, well, now maybe you have some ideas and you definitely have some great guidelines to make sure that when you do it, you don't mess it up. If you have any questions, thoughts, input, you know what to do. You can email me at annette@talksexwithannette.com. You can scroll down and drop a comment if you are watching this on my YouTube channel. You can scroll down and you can hit my SpeakPipe link and send me a voice note. And if you are looking for a wing woman on your pleasure journey, on your intimacy journey, either with yourself or someone else, my books are open and I am taking clients. I would love to be your wing woman, if you will, your cheerleader, your guide to having a better, more pleasure-filled life. You can find out more about my intimacy and coaching services at talksexwithannette.com. Until next time, remember, don't spit unless you've asked first. Every time. I'll see you in the locker room. Cheers.